They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Since drafting Brashad Perryman in the first round of the 2015 NFL Draft, the Ravens have selected only 3 wide receivers in the first round, those being Marquise Brown in 2019, Rashad Bateman in 2021, and Zay Flowers in 2023. So, for Marquise, his first game as a rookie, he had a stat line of 4 receptions on 5 targets for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it seemed like such a breath of fresh air and an exciting new era of Ravens football where the pass game would finally get more attention than ever before. But in hindsight, we know now that unfortunately that was not the case. While it was still a very exciting season, and one that'll be remembered by Ravens fans for a long time, more than anything, this year went down in history for becoming the single-season rushing record for both the Ravens team as a whole and also Lamar Jackson individually. After that Game 1 breakout performance, Marquise would go on to catch 42 of 66 targets for 437 yards and 5 more touchdowns, for a season total of 46 receptions on 71 targets for 584 yards and 7 total touchdowns. Overall, a solid rookie season for a Raven wide receiver, but it still felt somewhat underwhelming after such a phenomenal start. In 2021, the Ravens selected Rashad Bateman in the first round, and although he started the season sidelined due to a groin injury that he sustained before the start of the regular season, this was a season of historic injury and unlike any before. So our number 1 pick being on that laundry list of those injured was not unfathomable. When he did come back in Week 6 against the Chargers, though, the Ravens fans were more concerned with his health than his production at this point. Taking into consideration the fact that he missed 6 games overall that season, the first 5 and then 1 more later in Week 13 against the Steelers, which was also a groin injury, and with everyone else seemingly going down at some point, even Lamar, Bateman had an understandably challenging but also a somewhat underwhelming rookie season. By the end of the season, he had a stat line of 46 receptions on 68 targets, 515 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, during the 2023 offseason, the Ravens signed Nelson Aguilar and Odell Beckham Jr., who, along with the recovering Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay, were the only wide receiver weapons I believe that we needed. I will be the first to tell you that while I had no outright issues with Zay Flowers coming out of Boston College, I felt that the team needed to focus more on replacing the hole at cornerback that was basically caused by the departing of Marcus Peters. He's fine, he just went to the Raiders. Anyway, I felt like that left a rather large hole, and we didn't really need to fill that with another first-round wide receiver. But that being said, after the pick was made and the likable and hardworking aspects of Zay Flowers' character were coming to the forefront of who he was as a person and as a player, and I began to understand why the Ravens organization and coaching staff made the decision that they did. And before I knew it, I was again believing before the first preseason game that this would be the Ravens' true number 1 wide receiver. Finally. I remember seeing, as I'm sure a lot of you Ravens fans did, the clips of Lamar, Odell, and Zay working out together in Florida and being absolutely shocked at the almost violent change in direction that Zay had to his route running. His ability to go from nearly full speed to a complete stop was so sudden that at times I wondered if the videos had been sped up or doctored in some way. It almost seemed unreal or inhuman. I will admit that I'm not the biggest college football fan, so many of his abilities and his skill set in general were somewhat unknown to me. I knew at the Combine he was faster than the 40 that he ran made it seem, and he played bigger than his 5'9" frame suggested, which is kind of funny since he developed some of his game after Steve Smith Sr., and that he was a tenacious and determined run-after-catch receiver, but his smooth route running, explosive first step, and the ability to adjust to the ball in the air were aspects of his game that I was pleasantly surprised by. All of this combined with the newly forming Todd Monken offensive identity had me more than a little excited going into the first preseason game. And while the first game against the Eagles was not the most statistically spectacular for Zay, I was more than impressed with his elusive and make-you-miss style of play that he displayed almost immediately. Fast forward to the Commanders game, and you can bet how hyped I was for his touchdown. Not only because of how well he moved in space and his game speed, but more so for the impact that I could see him having for this Lamar-led offense, which was missing, among some other things, a serious yards-after-catch weapon and threat. This is who I was hoping Zay would be. Game 1 was against the Texans, And as I suspected before the game, Zay would play an important part in the offense. I just simply underestimated how important. Zay's 10 targets accounted for nearly half of Lamar's 22 total throws, and almost the same percentage of Lamar's total passing yardage. Lamar threw the ball for 169 yards, and 78 of those were picked up by Zay on 9 receptions. That's a really large focus for a rookie, and even more impressive was that of those 78 yards, 51 of them, or 65%, were yards after the catch, which was just what I was looking for. Zay's role in the second game of the season against the Bengals would be slightly different, as he would only see half the targets that he saw in the first game. Part of this is due to the fact that Lamar's unquestionably favorite target, Mark Andrews, was back on the field after missing Game 1, and he had the most targets out of anyone with 8. The other part was that Zay's role sort of changed in the offense against the Bengals due to his own ability to be a diverse playmaker who can fill, as far as I can tell, just about any role an offensive coordinator would need. Although he can do anything the coaches ask of him within a game, it seemed to me the focus in the first game was to have him be a chain mover and also to build some chemistry with Lamar. In the second game, a lot of what I saw from Zay was using his top speed to take the top off the defense or as a decoy to get others open. It was almost as if Todd Monken overused him in Game 1 and then let the Bengals think we were going to use him that much again in Game 2. But as we saw on the 52-yard play, his speed is real, as is his ability to go up and get the ball out of the air, fighting through double-team coverage, and making the catch with surprising hand strength. The reason I titled this video Offensive Rookie of the Year isn't because I think that Zay will have 1,500 yards by the end of the season or double-digit touchdowns. So far, he doesn't even have his first one yet. The main reason that Zay Flowers has Rookie of the Year potential is because of the effect that he has on defenses and how that in turn impacts the rest of the Ravens' offense and how they operate. I posted a video a while back in August where I outlined this exact possibility and how both Lamar and Zay could be used to create such a problem for defenses if they get out in open space. The way that Zay was utilized and played in the game against the Texans is what allowed him to get the looks he did in the game against the Bengals. Now, I don't have all the data that I'd like to show that this is the case, but I want you to pay attention to the upcoming game against the Colts. Take a look at how Zay is treated by their defense and how that changes throughout the game. In addition, notice how that change in their defense impacts the effectiveness of the other receivers. I believe Zay's resume for being Rookie of the Year will come from both having a consistent and impactful presence on the team while also coming up with big moments throughout the season. Zay has a chance to be the Rookie of the Year this year because so far both his play and his demeanor are vastly different from that of other rookies. His level of involvement in this offense and the apparent chemistry and trust Lamar has shown with him is all I need to see to believe that Zay Flowers has the potential to be the league's best offensive rookie this year. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like, and if you want more of my thoughts and analysis, you can check out my channel here. That's going to do it for me, guys. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.